Present time, I would ask our ROTC people from Owen High School to bring our colors forward. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I ask that you remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. It's time for the superintendent's comments.
Good evening, parents, members of the community, board members, and teammates. Welcome to 2024. With the arrival of a new calendar year and the anticipation of the start of a new semester, I continue to believe that we are in the midst of our finest year ever. Certainly, there remain numerous challenges and tasks to be accomplished, but the absolute focus on supporting our students and staff that I witness daily in our schools, in this building, and on this board make me confident that we will continue to witness tremendous student success. I've received the official Principal's Monthly Report for the month 3 of the 2023-2024 school year. I'm pleased to report that our enrollment, measured by average daily membership, is greater than the same month last school year by 54 students. I believe that this growth in enrollment is due to the dedication and commitment of our teachers and staff and the strong partnership we enjoy with our students' parents and our families. I was excited this morning to join members of our team at Community High School as Good Morning America honored our teammate, Ray Bethea, who serves as the custodian at Community High School. Students shared the tremendous impact that Captain Ray, as he is known, has had in their lives, encouraging them to keep going, being a mentor and demonstrating kindness in all he does. I love when our teammates are recognized, as it clearly illustrates the impact each member of our team can have in the life of a student. I salute Captain Ray and all of the Captain Rays in each of our 45 schools who are clearly making a difference and who are there for our students in times of challenge and in times of celebration. I'm also excited about this evening's presentation from our Career and Technical Education Department. As you will hear, our team is responding to the needs our business community has identified by helping prepare our students through internships, job shadowing opportunities, and earning industry-recognized credentials. This month, we'll kick off our annual town hall meetings in each district. Our first town hall meeting will take place in the Irwin District on January 29th at West Buncombe Elementary School. During the town hall meeting, we'll be seeking input as we continue to draft our new strategic plan. Finally, this month is School Board Appreciation Month. I want to personally thank each of our board members for their service and dedication. Thank you for your leadership and for modeling what it is to put students first in all that we do. We remain committed to loving and supporting each and every student in our school system. To our team and to our board members, thank you for all that you do for the students, families, teachers, and staff of Buncombe County Schools. Madam Chair, this concludes my comments.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we'll hear from Dr. Harris on good news.
Good evening, Dr. Jackson, Madam Chair, members of the board. For our good news segment this evening, we will start by recognizing our lead sign language teacher. Kim Martin has been named the North Carolina Educational Interpreter of the Year. She was nominated through the Land of Sky and CRID for her work advocating for educational interpreters in BCS. She collaborates with various agencies to help build the skills and capacity of our interpreters. In her nomination, it reads, Kim is someone who works to do the right thing, and we feel she deserves this recognition for all she has done for helping the entire interpreting community, both in and out of school. So congratulations to Kim Martin. Mr. Fusco, come on down as well. And can we have Dr. Jackson and Mr. Elliott come on down? And so what we'll have you do, stand in the middle since you're the, it's all about you. Oh, right in the middle. Oh, right in the middle, yeah.
Congratulations.
Mr. Fusco, I'll have you present this to Is Dr. Connor here?
No. Yes, she is. Yes, she is, right there. Yes, she is. Sorry.
Congratulations. For our next item of good news, we'll recognize James Sapp of Owen Middle School, the BCS Secondary Math Teacher of the Year. This award is given in partnership with the North Carolina Council of Teachers of Mathematics and NCDPI. Secondary math teachers are nominated by principals and instructional coaches and then asked to complete an application. Mr. Sapp's nomination reads in part, Mr. Sapp has demonstrated exceptional commitment to enhancing mathematics teaching and learning at multiple levels, from implementing innovative classroom initiatives to participating in district-wide programs and presenting at local and state conferences. He's established a supportive mathematical learning community involving students, families, and various school personnel, underscoring a holistic approach to math education. Mr. Sapp's impact is not only felt within the classroom, but extends to the district and state levels through active leadership in competitions, committees, and conferences. So Mr. Sapp is here. Would Mr. Arvey, Mr. McMahon, Ms. Buchanan, and Dr. Jackson come on down? Is everyone, y'all don't have to come down because you're already there. All right, we're going to switch it up a little bit for our Beginning Teacher of the Year recognition. Could Ms. Michaela Wright, Mr. Collins, Ms. O'Connell, Dr. Jackson, and Ms. Plemons head on to the front? So Michaela Wright is our 2024 Beginning Teacher of the Year. She's a 7th grade math teacher at Irwin Middle. Her nomination reads in part, Michaela is instrumental in the functioning of her team here at Irwin. She brings an open-minded and fresh perspective to each collaborative session and truly operates with children at the heart of everything she does. Michaela is a one-of-a-kind teacher, and when you factor in that she's only a beginning teacher, she has such a bright future in education. She has all the passion and expertise needed of an educator, and we are truly blessed to call her a warrior. Among her accomplishments at the school, she created the Irwin Experience, a celebration at the beginning of the year designed to welcome students and make them feel at home. Congratulations to Ms. Wright. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Actually, I was her sub in her class many days, and I can tell you, she is an incredible math
our next award, we're going to recognize Christy Cheek, Director of the BCS Foundation. If we could have Ms. Cheek, Dr. Reed, Dr. Jackson, come on forward. Perfect, thank you. Thank you. Christy Cheek has been awarded the first STEM grant given by Pratt & Whitney. Ms. Cheek has worked to create a myriad of supports for students in STEM. Besides the many grants and help given to STEM educators and their classes at BCS through the foundation, Cheek highlights the scholarships awarded to students each year to pursue a future in STEM fields, in conjunction with Pratt & Whitney. She encourages everyone to keep their eyes on the BCS Foundation website for upcoming opportunities to support these programs. Congratulations to Christy Cheek. And Dr. Jackson and Dr. Reed, y'all can stay. Our next recipient is Lisa Payne. Come on down, Lisa Payne. So we have 2 awards to talk about for Ms. Payne. Ms. Payne is the Director of BCS School Nutrition. The first award we'll recognize her for is the Suzanne DeFerry Lifetime Achievement Award. This award, sponsored by First Bank, recognizes a woman who has distinguished herself in business over a lifetime, demonstrating excellence and leadership in business throughout her career. That's according to the Asheville Chamber of Commerce. This prestigious award was given to Ms. Payne for her extensive career and work with BCS Nutrition Services. Making sure each of our 22,000 plus students are fed each day is no small task, but in her time in the position, she's been able to create sustainable partnerships with local businesses and farms for the sourcing of ingredients for school lunches, and she oversaw the Free Lunch for Every Student program. And for her next award, which Dr. Jackson is holding, this is presented by the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. It's the Gary Gay Award for her leadership in advocacy for promoting the use of North Carolina-grown foods in our farm-to-school program. Lisa's been instrumental in having locally grown beef added to the state-donated foods program, and she's an advocate for farm-to-school. And the beef is delicious, if I do say so myself. Congratulations, Ms. Payne. I forgot to invite up Miss Franklin to come for a photo, so come on up for a photo now, ma'am. We need you in the picture. No, Jennifer, go back up there, too. Go, go, go. Oh, yeah, go, yeah.
You know, this award has an awful lot of sparkly stuff in it, so I just want to know if agriculture gave her diamonds.
Congratulations. And as we wrap up good news for this evening, on behalf of the students and staff, we would like to thank our Board of Education. This is a month of appreciation just for school board members. School board members play a vital role in our communities and schools throughout the state. They spend countless hours of their time and talents toward the advancement of public education. They are essential to building a strong educational system. Your leadership has been key to the ongoing success of Buncombe County Schools. So again, on behalf of our students, staff, and stakeholders, we want to say thank you. So let's have a round of applause for our Board of Education. And that concludes good news for this evening.
Yes, go right ahead. Yeah, well, can you wait just a second? Yeah, I'm going to recognize Dr. Jackson here. I'm calling him Action Jackson tonight, which is a mouthful.
Board members, I'm sad to share with you and to share with our public that our communications director, Dr. Stacia Harris, who's done just such an incredible job communicating and telling the story of the Buncombe County Schools students, Buncombe County Schools teachers and staff, is moving along in her life's journey. The past, I believe, 8+ years. She has just done an incredible job pouring her heart into the work. I can tell you that at 4 a.m. when we're making decisions about phone calls that need to be made, about weather, and late at night when things might happen, she is just as joyous, and she is such a pleasure to work with. She's a fabulous teammate and has done an amazing job telling our story. Dr. Harris, thank you for your service on behalf of our school system, our students, and staff.
Okay, CTE.
All right. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and Dr. Jackson. It is an honor to share all the great and exciting things that are happening in CTE. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. When I talk about CTE, I'm very passionate about it. I've been told I have 10 minutes, and it's hard to cram that much information of great and wonderful things happening into 10 minutes. So I will do as much as I can, and then I'm happy to meet with you later on if you would like to hear more wonderful things. On this next slide, and I think you have handouts if you want to reference those, you can. We have a total of 101 CTE staff, which is incredible. We have 17 middle school teachers, 75 high school teachers, 8 career development coordinators, and 1 administrative assistant who also helps with career development exploratory things as well. You can see our directory here for our CTE support staff. You may see some of those faces in each of the high schools as you are out visiting with those schools. It's exciting to be able to say that we have 2 of our CTE teachers who are being recognized as Teacher of the Year at their respective schools, and both are from Family Consumer Science programs. We have Cindy Gosnell, who is at Cane Creek Middle School. She also does Exploring Nutrition and Wellness. And we have Jessica Jones, who is FACS teacher at Irwin High School and teaches interior design classes. Upcoming opportunities that we have in CTE, and I try to make this positive because these are opportunities for us to grow and improve and be better and stronger. We have our state monitoring visit, which is coming up January the 29th through the 31st. Those folks will be visiting us with us those 3 days here at Central Services. We also have our comprehensive local needs assessment that's due March the 15th, and we have been working on that assessment with our leadership team, our CDCs, business and industry, advisory boards in order to look at the labor market, local needs, and what we can do to improve our program areas. So we're getting a lot of data and a lot of information to continue to make great improvements in our programs for our students. Our funding, we receive state and federal funding, and from Perkins 5. CTE, we're based on ADM, which serves grades 8 through 12, but we also serve students in grades 6 through 12 and work to promote career awareness and activities with our 5th graders. Some of you may have heard of the Dairy Cow that was around visiting some of our schools. That was part of our 5th grade awareness event that we had. Some schools stole the cow when it was at the gas pumps, and I had to make a few phone calls saying, why are you stealing the cow? It's supposed to be at this other school, but it all worked out. We also have the opportunity to work on some grants, and this is my first time in this role, writing grants, and it's a learning experience, and I cannot wait until January the 15th to see if we achieve this grant. The one I requested was almost $200,000, and it's for Paxton Patterson, which is a phenomenal program, hands-on for students, being engaged, learning about careers and different career pathways. So excited to hear our news if we were able to get that grant or a portion of that grant on the 15th. We're also working on agriculture grants in 6 of our schools and working with those ag teachers, and we're going to be submitting 6 of those up to $100,000 for each school, trying to get more materials and supplies for those teachers and students. CTE is February month. We love to try to do different things in CTE to promote our programs, to promote job shadowing, to promote internships. And as we all know, the groundhog is going to see or not see a shadow on February the 2nd. We will also be sending students out to shadow on January the 2nd, or excuse me, February the 2nd,
With a groundhog?
with a groundhog. No.
I've got one in my backyard, I'll loan you.
Well, we may have a student who may like to shadow a board member. We could make that happen. I think that would be great, but we are trying to get our students in our high schools to work with career development coordinators. They'll be out visiting with students, posting the groundhog's picture, working with business and industries to sponsor some of our students. And I'm hoping maybe we could have 5 or 10 students in each of our high school. And if we all have a few working toward that, then that's going to impact more students. And I think it will be a phenomenal day for them to be able to have that experience with a business partner. Another opportunity that we have is called America's Next Great Intern, and this can be for our CTE students. They can apply for this. There's some money involved for our teachers, up to $250 that they could earn toward their classroom. This would be a great experience, elevator speeches for the students to apply, just a contest that they can compete in. On the far right-hand side are some other dates that we have going on with some upcoming career fairs at Owen High School on February the 2nd. We are going to have a North Buncombe High School and M.B. Haynes night. It's called Trade Ready Night for parents, students on the 13th, and that's the same night as their open house night, so we're hoping to have a good turnout for that. We will have on Valentine's Day a career fair at Inca High School. And then ending the month, we have T.C. Robertson, FCCLA. They are doing safe driving presentation for Safe Driver Week. Now, that's just what we have planned so far. We like to plan, we like to create and be creative, so we will definitely be adding more to that list and incorporating middle and hopefully some 5th grade classrooms as well as we celebrate CTE month. Here's a quick little video. That is just an overview of what we have been through working with students with career fairs, CTSO events, just the fall of 2023. So as you can see, a lot of student involvement, lots of opportunities for our students, lots of smiling faces. On this slide, just to show you, I've already mentioned this, we have 7 middle schools, and at our middle schools, I've listed the courses. We have a total of 15 exploratory courses and some Project Lead the Way courses that we do offer in our middle schools. And the number that you see for CTE students, we have a little over 3,000 students that will be or are sitting in our CTE classes in middle school for this school year. That is a duplicate number. So in other words, a student could be in computer science discoveries one period and then go down the hallway and have a Project Lead the Way course. So that number is duplicated, but that's a lot of students and a lot of excellent programs that we're offering to those middle schoolers. For high school, let me back up on that one because that was something good to tell you on that one. We do have 2 credentials in middle school, and that's through the American Red Cross, the babysitter credential, and then e-food handlers, which is through exploring personal finance and hospitality. We do not get to count that toward our credential numbers, but that's a great opportunity for our students at a young age to offer that so they could do some childcare, do some summer jobs with that credential. Our high school courses, as you can see, are quite a few more. And this is one point of our local needs assessment, is to take a look at what we're offering, look at what our labor market and what our demands are for our area, and make sure we're offering what we need to for our students and for our community. Out of our 10 high schools, here are the classes. We have 74 classes that are being offered. And when you look at the numbers for this school year, 23-24, we have almost 9,800 students. And again, that is a duplicate number of students sitting in CTE classes. And I would like to say, my corner eye here caught Josh, and Josh was one of my former students, so it does my heart good. I smile a lot when I see him or he hollers at me when we're here at the central services, and I don't know, I just have like a ray of sunshine.
He can count to 5.
Well, I know he has computer skills because I know whose class he was in, and he was a phenomenal student, and it is so encouraging. And like I said, I just love CTE so much, and I love seeing students that have gone through our program areas succeed and be successful. And at our board meetings, I was a CTE student. I would not be here today if it was not for my CTE classes. Former directors, Tina was in my classroom whenever she started into education. And I know I sound like Little House on the Prairie, and I'm sorry to do a side note here, but I went to a K-8 school. I know I don't look that young, but I was a K-8 school, and I did not write, anyway, that's a long story, but K-8, and then I went to high school, and it was a shock to me. And I was ready to drop out, honestly. I love school, but I did not like, just the change was too much. And if it had not been for my CTE classes, I honestly would not be where I'm at today. And if I didn't have my peers and the support that I had as I've been through my career, I definitely would not be here. So CTE, regardless of where we're at, it helps prepare our students and gives them those learning opportunities and CTSO and competition and all that good stuff. It's just amazing. Okay, I'll go on. Are my 10 minutes up yet? Is that? Okay. I told Jennifer, Dr. Reed, to give me a note, take her glasses off whenever I need to be quiet, because I could literally just talk all night, but I know. Okay, so we'll skip this slide. This is a good number. You're showing an increase here, which is our concentrators, and in case you don't know what a concentrator is, that's a student who has earned 2 or more credits within a single program in one of our pathways in a study of CTE. So as you can see, from 2020 up to 2023, we're showing growth, which is great. More students are completing a pathway, in other words. On this next slide, in case you're wondering, I just did the example of foods and nutrition. This is an example of a pathway. If a student completes Foods 1 and then completes Foods 2, they would be a concentrator in that pathway, just so you kind of can make that connection. Well, the good thing is, if you are a concentrator, you get to take the ACT work keys and earn a credential. And the credential that you could possibly earn is called National Career Readiness Credential. Some businesses in our area may recognize it. Some of them you may go into and they may not have any idea what you're talking about or know anything about it. Jacob Holmes, the former Jacob Holmes out in Inca, they would automatically, if you put that you have a North Carolina Career Readiness Credential, they said that the applicants would automatically get an interview. There's 3 different sections. If you've never seen questions on this assessment before, I encourage you to explore that because they can be challenging. But we do have a great success rate. You can see the gold, silver, platinums that we have. And then total concentrators from last year that took the Work Keys Readiness Credential, that was 953 students. So if you have nephews, cousins, children of your own, and they're talking about this Work Keys test that they have to take, this is why. It's because they were a CTE concentrator. But the good thing is they can earn that credential, which they can add to their resume. Our total credentials, you can see the growth here as well. The year of COVID, we were at 2724, and of course after that we had a decline just because we could not offer as many, trying to figure out how to do credentials from home or through an online platform. But the encouraging part and rebuilding part is that we're showing growth, and that's one of my goals, is to increase our credentials. And in the fall, listed here on the screen, those are the credentials that we're offering in our different CTE program areas for the fall semester. We will have some of the same credentials in the spring and some different ones that will also add to that. Honors, that's very important because some students may not take CTE classes because they cannot earn honors credit. So we have Inherently Honors, which is offered through the state, and we have 22 Inherently Honors CTE courses that are available for our students. And then we worked together with our different program areas and created local course options for honors to provide additional opportunities for students. Honors credit was very important to some of them and making those choices to take CTE classes, and we currently have 31 of those courses. Again, you can see from the chart, our numbers are growing. We're providing opportunities. More students are involved in signing up for the honors classes and taking advantage of that. We don't have the spring data yet because students, once they start second semester, they have 10 days to where the teacher talks to them about the honors program and that they can get that credit within, they have to sign up within the first 10 days of that semester. CTSOs, we are really soaring in this event. We have 32 advisors. Now remember, we have 101 CTE teachers that we have currently, and we have 32 advisors out of 101 teachers. That's really awesome. We have 20 chapters. You can see those chapters are listed there. We have FFA, FCCLA, DECA, and HOSA. You can see the numbers. Last year we had 638 students participating in those CTSOs, which stands for Career Technical Student Organizations. And then in 23-24, we're at 769. So again, working on building those programs, providing opportunities for students to go and compete. For some students, they've never been in a hotel room, or they've never traveled or eaten out or competed and gone through those events. I know the first time I had to go on a CTSO event, it was for DECA. And Christy Cheek said, Michelle, I need you to go with this group from Reynolds, and I'm not going to tell Christy no, so I went. She did not know, probably at the time, it was my anniversary weekend, so I had to tell my husband I would not be there. And then I had never flown before, so that was, here I am, you know, older at that time still, and I'm like, I've never flown, and it was phenomenal. It was a great opportunity, and to see the excitement and that experience is wonderful for students. Our internships, this is another priority that I have set a goal for myself, is to grow our internships and provide those experiences for students. In 22-23, we had 17 students doing internships for that school year. Currently, we have 49 this fall, and tentatively we have 42, so that's putting us up around 91. And you can see some action shots there of our interns at their work site. And internships can be paid or not paid. And then we have logos of our business sponsors here on the right-hand side. This is a student, this is showing how Career and College Promise courses, taking welding, going through CT internship. The student here is Nick. He's a graduate of Reynolds High School from last year. He was also CTE Student of the Year. Completed his welding courses through CCP courses and did his internship at Mountain Steel, and you can see him hard at work here in that middle picture. And then I actually found on their website the picture on the far left-hand side, which is the completed project. So it's kind of nice to see how students can take their internship CCP classes and kind of develop that pathway for welding. Honors, this is not to be confused with the honors courses that are available for students. This is if they meet the criteria. They must be a senior. They have to have a specific GPA weight of 3.5 or higher, and they have to either be currently enrolled with 2 CTE pathways or have completed those. You can see the numbers. We have a total of 177 students who get the recognition at graduation, and they also wear an honors cord at graduation. So I think that's a very high number for our students going through that program and meeting that criteria. And then this is near the end. I probably have gone over, but I really feel like I'm getting calm and relaxed and could probably do a much better job with this presentation now. Our glasses are off, so I can't. So anyway, wrapping this up, thank you so much. We have an amazing, Amy White has done an amazing job. I said, Amy, we have got to get our website, our social media up to date and showcase all the great things we're doing. I think all of you probably receive the highlights in the newsletters, And it just, I keep telling Amy, I don't know how, but each time it keeps getting better and better. And when I'm having one of those days, or you've been putting out a lot of fires or whatever, and you go through and you look at that newsletter and you can see all the good things and all the lives that are being touched, this is what it's all about. I just love CTE. Thank you for your time. And that's it. Okay, thank you.
And Madam Chair, if I could say one thing, Michelle Smith is doing an excellent job as the CTE director, and I want to recognize her for getting in that job and really reaching out to everyone, making sure how folks were feeling and what was needed in every one of those schools. So hats off to you for what you're doing and your leadership. It's great. Very good.
Thank you to Michelle as well, and all of your enthusiasm. Thank you for sharing your story there with us. I resonates with me personally in my career in forestry, an ag-related field, and same thing. Struggled with sort of standard coursework, but it was that CTE classwork that really fired me up and got me going. So I feel the importance and how important this CTE work is in relation to the portrait of the graduate at the state level, and us implementing that well within our district, so well in our district. It's just tremendous work. So thank you very much. And thanks for telling us the secret signs of Jennifer Reed there. It's nice to know that.
Okay, it's now time for public comment.
Reports.
Oh, I skipped the reports. I apologize to the people in charge. So we have external audit report by Smith. Oh, goodness, we have a visitor, and I went right over the top of the visitor. I apologize. Can we hear from you, Shannon?
Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Jackson, it's great to be here in Buncombe County and great to be able to present some good news to you all tonight in regards to your 22-23 annual financial audit. You all have a couple of board packets. I'm going to go through the highlights in it. There's a lot of pages, a lot of documents. If you guys have any questions, feel free to stop me. Feel free to reach out after the fact. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm going to kind of hit the highlights and then if there are any questions. So I'm pleased to announce that you have an unmodified opinion on your 2023 audit. This is a clean opinion. This is the best opinion that you can receive on a financial statement audit. So congratulations. That is an excellent achievement. Separate from the bound set of statements, there's a communications letter. Basically, this goes over a couple of highlights, the most important being that there were no misstatements in the financial statements and there were no disagreements with management. We ask for a lot of information as we're going through the audit, both from the finance department and a variety of other departments. We look at compliance across the district in various different areas, and we had no disagreements. Everything that we asked for, they provided. They provided on a timely basis and had all of that backup support, which is really something that we look for as auditors, that the documents are readily available and organized. So moving, if you're following along on the bound set of statements, it's page 16. And some of these are just highlights of those pages. So in your general fund, which is going to be the fund that you're able to use and designate as a district, how to utilize those funds, you ended the year with about $10.5 million. Of that, you allocated $3.5 million into your 23-24 budget. So in your current year budget, it's expected to use about $3.5 million. Leaving you with about $6.8 million of unassigned funds going into the future. So about a third of your fund balance at the end of 23 has been allocated into the current year to be able to be spent. Capital outlay, you had about 27 million. Other specific revenue, those are going to be primarily grants. It's going to be the majority of those funds are restricted to whatever the donor gave them in. Some of those will be restricted for the EC department. Some of them would be CTE department. And so those funds are going to be restricted to very specific obligations. There's about between 11.2 and 11.3 million. And the individual schools in their bank accounts which is going to be across all of the schools in the district, is about $3.7 million. Looking specifically at the general fund, you had $82.8 million in revenue and spent about $82.4 million. So essentially, and then you had some transfers with the individual schools, some expenditures. So you spent about $354,000 out of your general fund balance in the 2023 year. And $680,000 in the individual schools, saved about $3.3 million in capital outlay. The capital outlay, we typically see that one can go up and down. Capital outlay projects are going to be those really big projects that you have going on. So it's not uncommon to see that fund balance go up or down, and that's going to be timing of projects. As you get the funds, those funds can only be utilized on projects that have been allocated. So those funds you will see, especially because a lot of projects will be ongoing over the summer. So we have a June 30th cutoff date, which is early into the summer. So a lot of times those projects are still ongoing. And then saved about $3.6 million from attaining additional grants. Looking ahead to page 19. I'm pleased to announce the budget that you all pass, as well as all the amendments that are passed on a regular basis, have done good. In 2023, you had no expenditures that exceeded the budgets that you all passed and appropriated. So excellent job on the district's part in keeping within the funds that were allocated in each category and as a whole. Jumping to page 25. Looking at the child nutrition program and child care after-school programs, we do look at a little bit differently because those are programs that parents pay for as opposed to government-sponsored programs. And so instead of looking at fund balance, we recommend looking at the cash at the end of the year. So at a given point in time, last year, the child nutrition program saved about $26,000. So for a district this size, they pretty much broke even right on. That was excellent job in managing revenue versus expenditures, especially coming out of COVID. We're seeing across a lot of districts a lot of fluctuation because it's really hard to predict, the students that are going to be eating meals, especially as prices changed, and then the increased cost in food as well. So pricing that was very difficult. We've seen a lot more fluctuation than normal, but you guys hit it right on and had about $8.5 million in cash at the end of the year to be able to sustain into the future as prices continue to rise and don't go down. I think every time we go to the grocery store, we all feel it. And so imagine feeding all of the kids and what that impact is with every meal. The child care program, this is the first year we broke apart the child care program from the grants. It's not necessarily a new program to Buncombe County Schools, just in how it was presented. Being able to look at it this way allows you to have a better understanding of this program in isolation, to be able to see, are you charging properly? Are you, how you're spending the funds? And so being able to look at it separately, I think is important because it is an ancillary type of program. So this year, there was a savings of $249,000 to start with that for the child care program, and that's something that will be able to be kind of monitored a little bit more closely. It could be monitored before, but breaking it out provides some additional transparency, which is always a good thing. Findings and questioned cost. Jumping ahead to page 77. Pleased to announce that there are no financial statement findings. As I mentioned, as we're going through our audit, we look at a variety of programs. Every year we look at different programs. This year, from a federal standpoint, we did a deep dive into child nutrition, the special education program, and education stabilization fund, which was the largest portion of the ESSER money. Pleased to announce that there were no findings, which basically means everything we reviewed seemed appropriate, it was appropriately spent. Then from a state standpoint, we looked at the State Public School Fund, which is going to be the largest grant that the state provides. We looked at driver's education, and we looked at the Lottery Fund, which provides some of the capital funding. And again, we had no findings on that audit. And as I'm looking at you and the books, it depends on which book you're looking at as to the page numbers for this section. The book with the blue cover is going to have the page numbers in this section. The book with the white cover with the Buncombe County Schools logo does not include the compliance sections. It has some other statistical information. So then I have some supplementary information outside of the audit to look at from an analysis to be able to kind of put into perspective some of these things. Some graphs. This first one looks at revenue over time. As you can see, the big thing that I'd like to point out in this graph is kind of the percentages. As you can see, the state's the largest source of funding. County would be the next largest, but federal has increased very substantially since COVID. And so when you look at 21, 22, a little bit less in 23, it's still a good chunk of the funding. And as you can see, kind of state funding has slowly gone up, and that's going to be primarily related to inflation and teacher salaries and whatnot. But the federal funds have gone up primarily with the ESSER money. So looking a little bit closer to the COVID-19 ESSER money, this looks at what you spent each year in this ESSER funds. 22 being your peak, spending a little over $40 million in ESSER funds in that 1 year. 2023, about $22 million in ESSER funds. As you all know, I know it's been talked about many times. These funds expire towards the end of 2024 just into the beginning of next year in September. There's a little bit of a phase out period, but going from spending $22 million into having zero is a tough move. So being mindful of all of the expenses that were put onto the ESSER money, part of why your general fund didn't have as big of a hit as we talked about earlier in terms of spending more than it would have is because of this ESSER money. Some of the expenses that you would have paid for and had paid for in past years were able to be paid for out of this ESSER money. And so monitoring and looking at what is in this ESSER money and making sure that you have a plan post-ESSER money is going to be very important for your fund balance because, again, $20-some million is a lot of money and more money than it is fund balance. But with proper planning, you will be able to, you do have fund balance, some fund balance. And again, looking closer at fund balance, your general fund, you'll see it dipped down to its lowest amount of fund balance. That's going to be the darker color. in 2019. Then it slowly increased. That's going to be savings from, again, as I mentioned, moving some of those expenses that you would have paid for out of your general fund into the ESSER money. So that was allowing you to be able to build up some of your general fund balance. Your capital fund balance, again, has increased, but obligating into those specific projects, the large projects that are ongoing and take many years in which to be able to complete. Any questions?
Thank you for the excellent report, and congratulations to the findings as well to our accounting team. It's a huge lift for sure. Could you just go back to that last slide for just a second?
Absolutely.
So if I get, just to make sure I'm reading this right, in our general fund balance, in the general category, that can be used for programming and everything else in our schools, and then what is that other special revenue? Can you clarify that?
Absolutely. The other special revenue is going to be those grants. The majority of that fund is restricted to grants. There's some flexibility in it, but it's going to be restricted to, it may be a specific grant, and it may be restricted, for example, when EC gets money for fee-for-service from Medicaid. When they get those funds, it goes in there, but it has to be used within the EC program. And so there is money in there. There's flexibility with some of it, but the majority of it is going to be earmarked for a specific thing to where the board, can't just put teachers on it necessarily.
So those two combine it around $20 million of of fund balance in those two items? I think that's what you just said.
Let me verify that. Let's see.
Oh, just adding up the two bars.
Yes.
Seem to be.
Yep.
Okay, and then that last graph about the COVID-19 money.
Uh-huh.
So, just trying to equate this here a little bit. So the ESSER funding that leaves us in 2024, that's the last kind of dot on that graph, not a dot, but the last part of that area is $20 million. That's what we are currently going to lose at the end of this year?
That was spent in '23. So the way that these funds came in, they came in kind of in big block grants that you could spend, throughout the years. So the peak was in '22. The '22 peak is likely going to be a fair amount of one-time expenditures. There was a lot of bonuses paid and those types of things. And so '23, it was about $22 million that was spent. I'm not sure into '24 what you guys are spending this year as you're able to wrap up through the very, very first part of next year. But most of your staffing positions, this is going to be the last year to be able to pay them out of the ESSER funds.
You had mentioned that we, to offset this, we had fund balance, and then I saw the magnitude of the fund balance, and I'm grateful for that. So again, thanks for the finance team for managing that so well, because it will buffer.
It will buffer some, but you also don't want to deplete it in a year. And, just watching, because a good majority of that, like I said, with the other special revenue, is going to be restricted. And you're not going to be able to necessarily do everything. For example, if an organization comes in and wants to sponsor agriculture items for the agricultural department, for the CTE department, that's all you're going to be able to do with that block of money.
Thank you. And lastly, thanks for the breakout on the child care financials as well. I know we were concerned about how those might end up mid-year, but looks like they wound up in a good space. So.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry I overshot you on the agenda, but you certainly did recover well.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. At this time, I want to recognize Dr. Harris and Tina Thorpe in regards to our wonderful finance department.
Yes, we have 2 awards to present, and while I'm reading them, if Ms. Thorpe could come on down, and if the finance team, if you all could come on down and stand in the middle, and Dr. Jackson and Madam Chair, if you guys could come book in them. So the two awards that we're going to recognize tonight, one is from the Association of School Business Officials International, or ASBO. It's the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting. It's for its annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th of 22. It signifies that the district's report meets the criteria established for ASBO's International Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting. The second award is from the Government Finance Officers Association. It's the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. Actually, go ahead, jump in the photo. Yeah. Hold on one second. Don't forget Miss Thorpe in the photo. Oh, and the award.
I didn't know the other two were that. Which?
Okay, nobody move. Everyone stay there. Ms. Thorpe, come on. Ms. Thorpe had a few words to say, and I want everyone to be listening intently.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Jackson. I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank all of you for your support, and I want to thank the finance team for the hard work, the dedication, the hours that are never recognized and sometimes it can seem as a thankless job, but I want to thank you. You go above and beyond every call, and you are there to support this whole system like unbelievable. The dedication to we have very, very stringent schedules and calendars that we must meet on everything, and you're always here, you're always in attendance. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you.
You may all sit down now. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you. A lot of work. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Congratulations on that.
Dr. Jackson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we continue to transition, I want to highlight again two things. One, this audit report. Board members, I'm extremely proud of our finance department. I'm extremely proud of our bookkeepers in all 45 of our schools. Extremely proud of this board and of our administrators when we can say we have a clean audit with no findings. When we go before our county commissioners or the state or grantors, we can share that we are excellent stewards of the resources, the taxpayers' resources that are shared with us. Folks can hold in confidence that when dollars and cents are given to Buncombe County Schools, they'll be used for what they're supposed to be used for. With a budget this size in totality, to be able to account for every penny is a monumental task. And I'm so very proud of all who help us make sure that our employees get paid on time. I can tell you that more nights than I can count, late in the evening, way after dark 30, our finance department is still in the parking lot because they're making sure they're taking care of our employees. And so I certainly am very proud of our finance department. The awards that they just received are not received by every finance department. We're quite blessed by the folks who do that work for us, and blessed by this board, because when we look at how close the margins are and where we are, that's a lot of hard work historically in our school system. And so, Madam Chair, thank you for the opportunity to just comment on my great appreciation for the work that goes into making this happen, and to our auditors who ask all those tough questions and ask for all those documents, and it's truckloads of documents, it feels like, but that gives our board assurance that we are being very careful with the dollars we're entrusted with. Thank you.
Yes. I like it when we don't send anything back to Raleigh. I mean, that just makes me so happy. Thank you. The next item, I believe, if I'm correct, is public comment, and I'll ask Mr. Shatley to read a document.
Good evening, everyone. It's now time for public comment. As a reminder, speakers will be called in the order in which they signed up. All speakers will have precisely 3 minutes to speak. You will see the buzzer or the lights on the dais at the end there, and when it turns yellow, I think you have 30 seconds left, and then it turns red, your 3 minutes is up. We ask that you not use profane language, make threats, or reveal confidential student or staff information. We ask that you address the board as a whole, and please note that although the board members are listening and taking notes, they generally do not respond directly to public comment.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, tonight we have 7 public comments. First is Sarah Disher Ratliff, and I ask all commenters to just state your name and what district you are speaking from.
Hi, I'm Sarah Disher Ratliff, and I'm in the Reynolds District. Did you realize that as of September 2023, there were 7.7 million latchkey kids in the United States? Meaning statistically, 1 in 5 kids is considered latchkey. Approximately 61 of those are in high school, 28 are in middle school, and the remaining 11 are in elementary school. In North Carolina, the acceptable age to be latchkey is 8. So think about a second grader being at home alone, responsible for taking care of themselves. I provide you with these statistics to make you aware of an issue that exists for numerous families across our county when inclement weather decisions are made. Please understand, I must say first and foremost that I am all for decisions that put the safety of students and staff at the forefront. However, the timing of those decisions have more of an impact than you may realize. Yesterday, I was very fortunate that my message from BCS canceling classes was delivered prior to me going down my driveway to take my kids to the bus. Had that message been delivered 4 minutes later, I would have been sitting at the bottom of my drive with no cell phone service or internet service, waiting 45 minutes to an hour on 3 buses that were never going to come. There are pockets across the county in more rural areas where cell service is not available, and unless you happen to be listening to a local radio station, you're never going to know that school was canceled. On a typical day, my bus adventures started approximately 6:10 a.m., and that's the time that my first child, my middle schooler bus, comes to pick him up. We are all morning people, so it doesn't really bother us. However, it does mean that our morning starts at 4:30 a.m. and our kids are up and running no later than 5. Push the schedule due to a 2-hour delay, and the first bus comes at 8:10. Yesterday's cancellation message reached my phone at 8:12, and I was very thankful my youngest kid had forgotten his folder and we were delayed just enough to not waste the trip. Now, back to my latchkey stats. After leaving my own 4 kids at home to deal with asynchronous and synchronous schedules on their own, I headed into work, where I passed 3 kids waiting on buses in freezing weather because they are home alone and responsible for making sure they don't miss the bus. I can only hope that they eventually realize that bus wasn't coming. I recognize these decisions are not easy and have that often, regardless of what you do, you're never going to make everyone involved happy. However, I do think that given the remote learning options that are now available as alternatives, making the call the night before or even just a bit earlier would benefit more than it would hinder. This would also aid a lot of those latchkey kids in that their parents could better prepare them for being at home, possibly with potential food options, as more than likely most of these children would not be able to access any of the lunch options the county makes available on inclement weather days. And remember, 34% of students in Buncombe County fall within the free or reduced lunch eligibility category. There has got to be a better way to make this call. I'm 100% behind making sure the safest option is chosen for all parties involved. However, I also think that we need to make communication higher on the list of priorities, especially for the 84% of parents who have children in public schools in Buncombe County.
Thank you.
Bill Robinson.
My name is Bill Robinson. I'm the father of 2 girls and the grandfather of 2 more. Jesus said in Matthew, "If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." I have to talk again about the 7 suicides that occurred in the Buncombe County School District, in this general area, and also in the Asheville School District, from January 1st of last year through May 12th. That is less than 5 months. That is not a statistical anomaly. That is not a freakish accident. 7 young girls committed suicide in these schools, these public schools, at the beginning of last year. The first one is Kylie Wilhelm. Kylie Wilhelm was a 13-year-old girl, 7th grade, at Owen Middle School in Swannanoa. She hung herself. You can't imagine the loss of the family. I know the family, I know her sister, I know her grandparents. I want to introduce you to a new character. That's Sabria Bozeman. Sabria Bozeman was a 16-year-old 10th grader at A.C. Reynolds. She also killed herself. These children are not killing themselves because of coming from poor homes or living in poverty, being abused at home, or because they don't have any church family to look after them. It's exactly the opposite. They're going to public school and they're being treated and abused in public school by bullies. There's a new kind of bully in our public schools, in case anybody hasn't been paying attention. These are what I would call suicide bullies. They're not like the old bullies who would fat shame their victims or say, nobody likes you. They constantly berate kids they don't like and tell them to commit suicide. That's what's happening with this. This is not specific just to this school district. Let's talk about it happening all over the United States. On September 13th, 2023, a California law firm obtained a $27 million settlement against Moreno Valley Unified School District, the largest school bullying settlement in U.S. history for the death of 13-year-old Diego Stoltz. Notice that was a settlement. The school board settled for $27 million. Can you imagine what they would have faced in a jury trial? Let's go on to that same law firm.
Thank you.
Liza Porras.
Hello there, school board members and company. I am Liza Porras, a senior at Nesbitt Discovery Academy, and I'm here to talk about the Green New Deal for Schools campaign. Once again, I'm here to politely and respectfully ask that you bring the Green New Deal for Schools to Buncombe County. This campaign promises pathways to green jobs, free and healthy lunches, a climate curriculum, safe and clean buildings, and climate disaster plans. Such disaster plans would account for disasters like floods, heat waves, and winter storms. It is no coincidence that this week there have been 2 instances of virtual school days due to weather problems. According to the European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service, 2023 was the hottest year on record, undoubtedly throwing the global weather cycles into disarray, as we have seen across the country this week. These weather situations were a direct result of climate change. With melting ice and snowpacks, the global distribution of water is rapidly changing, leading to droughts in some areas and immense flooding in others. With warmer, wetter winters on the way, Buncombe County Schools needs to prepare for more days like there have been this past week. These weather problems will only persist as the planet continues to warm. It was also found by the Copernicus Climate Change Service that the Earth is 1.4 degrees Celsius warmer than before the Industrial Revolution. This number is very important because the 2015 Paris Agreement, which is not even a decade old, was created to try and prevent global warming from surpassing 1.5 degrees Celsius. It also set a goal to reach net zero emissions by 2050. That limit was set to avoid severe effects on ecosystems and food webs, but the reality is that any warming is already putting species at risk. We are on track to surpass the 1.5 degrees Celsius limit this decade, unless changes are made. One way Buncombe County can try to avoid that damage is to switch to green energy sources and adapt practices like disaster plans that minimize the amount of warming and the effects of said warming on learning. Virtual learning, while a viable strategy for encouraging learning despite the weather, is not achievable for all students. In fact, students who have to work, whether around the house or in the workforce, and those who do not have access to reliable internet are left behind on days when they aren't in a physical classroom. Also, some students are incapable of completing their work on their own, and with parents at work and teachers busy, they don't get the help they need. As we head into the new year, I hope you realize that we are one step closer to reaching the point of no return with climate change. However, you have the power to make a dent in climate change. While these changes may seem small, every little bit counts. Acting now by bringing the Green New Deal for schools to Buncombe County is one way to avoid surpassing that warning limit.
Thank you.
Todd Lester.
Hello, board members. My name is Todd Lester. I'm a resident of Asheville and also a member of Braver Angels, Western North Carolina. Braver Angels is leading the nation's largest cross-partisan civic movement to bridge the nation's political divide. By bringing conservatives, liberals, progressives, and others together to speak freely and without fear and to disagree respectfully, Braver Angels' objective is not to change people's minds about issues, but to change people's minds about each other. One of the issues that our group has been focusing on is North Carolina SB 49, the Parents' Bill of Rights. Parents and school boards are united in their desire for a quality education and a safe learning environment for students. However, with this legislation, like in many other communities across the country, public education is on the front line of political polarization. Braver Angels, Western North Carolina, is sponsoring a moderated discussion on this important issue titled Parents and School Boards, How Can They Work Together? The event aims to understand differences accurately, to identify areas of agreement, and to gather questions for further consideration. Parents, students, teachers, and school board members from across the political spectrum are welcome and will have an opportunity to speak. Tell us what you've experienced and what you think. This free event will take place Saturday, January 20th, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Skyland United Methodist Church, 1984 Hendersonville Road, Asheville. No membership or ticket is required, nor is one's political affiliation asked for. For more information, go to braverangels.org/events and just scroll to January 20th. That's braverangels.org/events. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate your commitment to the education of our youth.
Thank you, sir.
Sharon Broussard.
Good evening. My name is Sharon Broussard. I'm a grandmother, and I am in the Reynolds District. As you can see from my T-shirt, I'm a member, and I want personally to thank each and every one of the Buncombe County School Board members for all the fine work that you do for us. I'm a member of Public School Strong. It was formed to fight for honest, accurate, safe, fully funded public education across North Carolina, county by county, using a network of teams who go to their local school board meetings wearing Magic Public School Strong shirts. These local teams sometimes speak out at the meetings, and sometimes just observe, as I'm doing now. We are all looking for ways to help support our local school boards in their mission of providing the best education to our large and diverse student needs. Public School Strong welcomes public school parents, grandparents, educators, and retired educators, students, and community supporters. We currently have teams in over 60 of the 100 counties in North Carolina and continue to expand rapidly. North Carolina ranks an embarrassing 50th in the country in our funding efforts of public schools. According to the Education Law Center, North Carolina's funding effort was 2.32% of the state's wealth and 1.28% below the national average, the largest negative gap of any state. It's terrible. Just 4 months ago, the Republican supermajority in Raleigh push through a voucher expansion bill, expanding voucher funding for private schools. By 2031-32, more than $50 million will be allocated to these vouchers each year, with nearly $5 billion spent on private school vouchers by 2032-33. This is $5 billion taken from public education. The new voucher program now allows the wealthiest families to receive taxpayer funds to send their children to private schools. Our school boards and the discourse around schools for the last 2 years has been dominated by a minority of loud voices, substantially from the loud and disruptive voices of Moms for Liberty. Parents are much more concerned about issues of school funding than they are about culture war politics. I ask you to join us to fight for the best fully funded public education for all of our diverse North Carolina youth. Go to Google and look up Public Schools Strong. We need more people, you people, to get involved in the movement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill Altamare.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. Bill Altamire, and I'm a retired pediatrician. I'm in the Robertson district. I live there. I've spent 45 years doing pediatrics, teaching pediatricians, and been retired 22 years. You can add all that up. And I've spent my main projects since retirement have been teaching kids. And I'm about kids. And I can break down talking about it. But anyway, I'm here to encourage parents, schools, school boards to get together and work something out. Find common ground. Common ground is easy. It's those kids. The kids that are going to grow up to run the country, to be the teachers and doctors and soldiers and everything that the country depends on. And this is a tough time for y'all. There's no question. The country's split, and some of that is coming through on you guys. In order to cooperate, you're going to have to give some and get some. I mean, the law is the law until it's changed. And you've got, to me, it's really, you've got to somehow work within that. But so much depends on it. I mean, really, teachers and schools have to support parents, and parents have to support teachers and schools. Find a way. Help those kids out. That's all.
Thank you.
And the last speaker tonight is Carolyn Stewart.
I am Carolyn Stewart, and I'm in the Owen School District. And I am a mom and grandmom, and I have been concerned, as has been mentioned tonight, with our children. I've worked in public schools and loved working in public schools, but I've mostly done it as a pastor's wife and as a building leadership skills in kids, letting them know that there's greatness in each one of them. And so what I'm reading about and what we're experiencing in our country is just, so many are finding that they are hopeless or feeling that they don't have anything that's great within them or anything to give, and they're being, like has been said tonight, bullied and put down. But I want to tell you that I pray for you guys all the time. And I really mean you are being prayed for because you are in a very tough place. And we appreciate you not giving up on our families and kids. And I believe, like the doctor shared, there's so many ways that we can cooperate and work together because the children are our country. They are the country that continues. They are, and so I want you to know that everything that I'm a part of, my church, any organization, we are uniting together, and we are asking for prayer for you guys and for ways that we can cooperate. And so I just want to thank you for not quitting and for standing up against all the things that you have to stand up against for our community and for our children. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, that concludes public comment.
Thank you. At this time, we're on the action agenda, and we have budget amendment number 1. Do members of the board have questions for Ms. Thorpe? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve this amendment.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? In the consent agenda tonight, we have the minutes from December 7, 2023, special called work session, the minutes from December 2023, regular meeting open session, the personnel report with an addendum, advisory council members' request to add, policies for second reading, Policy 4110, immunization and health requirements for school admission, Policy 7650, employee travel and other expense reimbursements, and Policy 7631, salary supplements. Policies for ratification are Policy 4130, discretionary admission, Policy 4150, school assignments, Policy 4334, 5035, 7345, use of unmanned aircraft drones, Policy 6230, school meal and competitive food standards, Policy 7232, discrimination and harassment in the workplace, and Policy 7820, personnel files. I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have,
Madam Chair, just a point of discussion, if you don't mind. I just want to acknowledge in that consent agenda, two quick things. One, the advisory council members and their request to add. Want to say thank you to Principal Alexander, who's here tonight. Our advisory councils are, for those of you who don't know, are made up of hundreds of parents and students, community members across our school community. And, we have been working this year on breathing some new life and energy into those advisory councils. And just to see continued requests to add parents to those advisory councils, for the last few months, I think is really heartening that they are functioning well and providing a collaborative space for parents and students and our staff in our school to help make our schools function really well. So I just want to call that out and say thank you. And also just on the policies as well, you know, there's a lot of collaboration in that as well, that I want to appreciate all of our staff who's taken time to provide feedback on how things are working and how things could work better in our schools, and for the community and the public comment that we've received. It all informs that policy work, so thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott. I'd like, then we have the information agenda, which we've addressed with finance reports. I'd like to make an announcement that on, our board's been working on addressing an issue that was given us by the General Assembly, which is redistricting. And the board has decided to have an open session on February 15th. We'll have the maps available for view, and then we will have a time for some public comment, and we will take that information very seriously, and this is on February 15th. I believe we talked about 6 o'clock. We'll get some information out that's more firm about that, and it's on the redistricting plan that the General Assembly has tasked us with addressing. And so that is one announcement about a future meeting. The next board meeting will be February 8. We'll have a work session and a closed session beginning at 4 in the executive conference room, and open session will begin at 5:30 here in the Minotaurium. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.